I'm following.
Point of order.
Madam.
I understand how Robert's rules work.
No. Robert's rule of order is the chair establishes the agenda and the order of the meeting, and as the chair, when we open the meeting, I made it very clear that
Can the chairman be allowed to finish speaking and not be interrupted all the time?
Thank you, Mr. Mulligan. As the chair, I made it very clear, according to Robert's rules and order, what the meeting was about. And I made it very clear what type of discussion we were going to have. I discussed the guidelines, the rules, how we would address the issues, what type of questions will be discussed, so that everyone in the beginning of the meeting knew very clearly what was going on. At that point, when I opened up the meeting, Ms. Pereira did not say, I'd like to make a motion that we have motions during the meeting. So I stated in the beginning of the meeting, and you can pull up your Robert's Rules of Order, of how exactly the meeting was going to be run, and as the chair, trust me, it's going to run in that order. Now, Dr. Kelleher, unfortunately, is not here. She has a PhD. We have the minutes. She can read. So whatever she's missing in this meeting, she's more than aware we were having this meeting tonight. She has a PhD. She can read very well, and we have every dollar here, every statement that's being made. I'm certain that she'll read that, okay? So to the discussion of your concern of Dr. Kelleher not being here, we're very much aware of why she's not here, but the people of Saudi Arabia are glad she's there because they need her there. So we'll allow her to miss our meeting because she's in Saudi Arabia helping with special ed. I don't want to make that a conflict because Dr. Kelleher is not being evaluated. The purpose of this second meeting is because board members said they had more questions for the superintendent. So let's be adults and direct your questions to the superintendent. What other questions do you have? That's the only reason we had this meeting. We had this meeting for more questions. So what other questions do you have for the superintendent?
I'm going to call a vote on the motion because the motion's been made and seconded.
The chair does not acknowledge the motion because we already
You don't have the authority not to.
Ma'am, point of order.
You don't have the authority.
Point of order. You cannot do.
All in favor?
No, you're out of order. Out of order. Point of order. I would like it documented. I would like it documented
You can't decide if a
as the
motion's made
chair,
or
as
not.
the chair of the meeting, that I brought it to point of order, and Ms. Pereira, as a board member, is going against the chair of the meeting as if she is chairing it, and I've already.
May I be heard,
No,
Mr. Chair?
excuse me, Mr. Mulligan. As a majority, you cannot circumvent the order of a meeting. And the order has already been established. We weren't doing motions. We said that at the beginning. But you know what, Pereira? Act like you're on Ritalin or you're special ed. That's fine. I made it clear to you what was going on. So you want to play the game? I'm not playing the game.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes, you may, Mr.
make
Mulligan.
one comment? I've been silent.
Yes, you may, Mr. Mulligan.
All right, Mr. Chair, the notice of this meeting was for the superintendent's presentation and questions and answers.
And the motion
May
is
I
remain.
finish?
The
May I
motion
finish?
is remain.
Point of
Ms.
order,
Pereira,
out of control.
I would say the proportion of the amount of speaking of you to me is about 100 to 1. So if I might just not be interrupted and say a few words. The sole notice is presentation by the superintendent and questions and answers. There is nothing in the notice about any motions. Number two, now we have talked about this for a half an hour. It eats into the time of the superintendent being questioned. I suggest that we, as this board, just do what is on the notice, do what was the intent, use the time productively to ask the questions instead of all of these arguments that lead nowhere.
Mr. Chair?
Mr.
Chair.
Yes, Mr. Simmons?
I don't think she's trying to change anything. It's on the agenda. She's simply asking that a fellow board member participate in finalizing the evaluation, and that's the motion, and that's the scope of what we're talking about now. Now, excuse me, could I finish, please? We've already, you made the motion. I've seconded the motion. We voted 4 to what?
They haven't voted.
I didn't vote.
That's not a vote.
Then it's going to be an abstention.
No, that's not a vote. Okay, let me show you, because you really love law a lot. The chair has not acknowledged the motion, so whatever you're talking is irrelevant. Now, if you'd like to take it to a lawyer, they'll tell you. The chair, which would be me, who's chairing the meeting, has not acknowledged your motion.
We don't have a problem with that.
You don't
Okay,
have
okay,
the
so
authority
you,
to deny
so
it.
there is no motion on the floor to vote.
Well, that's your view.
Okay, all right, well, we'll carry with the view, the purpose of this meeting, as we were noticed, was questions
Okay. You
to
said
the
that- you said
superintendent.
that
Her
15
motion
times.
is not a question to the
You
superintendent.
said that 15 times.
No, Mr. Simmons, I don't need you to count for me, I didn't say 15. It was 31
She
times.
made the motion. Okay, that's it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I recall correctly, the procedure was that every individual board member will fill out an evaluation and write his or her own summary of every item on the evaluation. Then the chairperson, Dr. Keller, will combine all of those, what's written, and not what was discussed at these meetings. I thought she will combine the information from our written evaluation forms. That was the agreement. I don't see why the discussions here need to be combined, because it was supposed to be what is written. That's the way I understood it.
And to your statement, Mr. Hernandez, is that is why I'm trying to continue in the direction that that our president asked me to. That we're asking the questions that we as board members could collect the data that we could submit back to her. So that, and she
And I
made,
agree with
okay, Dr. Kelleher made it very clear to me that she wanted to make sure all of the questions that the board members had were resolved tonight, so that there was no need for an additional meeting with questions. So that is why I'm going in the direction I'm going. Does that make sense, sir?
Mr. Chair?
Do you answer my
Through you,
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mulligan, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'd ask the superintendent this question. Superintendent, in the past, you have talked about some type of an early intervention for pre-K kids. Could you tell us what the status of that is at the present time in terms of attempts to get funding, and what administrative actions have been taken in that regard?
Okay, thank you.